So I don't know what relay this would be considered, and kind of it's like if you aren't familiar with the relays I've been putting out on my YouTube channel, familiarize yourself. I would say to a lot of people, but I'm basically making this for Diligent Denizen. He's got a lot of people on this call today. I'm gonna send this to him directly, but let's talk about Epstein thing real quick, right? Just FYI for you, dude, and why we're not ever gonna get to the bottom of that. Like, one, you have to understand, so long has passed since the initial scandal that even if the list was released, there's no way it's not going to be edited to how do I put this, benefit one party or the other. That's just facts. Secondly, the administration, like, they have no idea. Like, there's no way to know who's going to be in control of the edits, right? Because the government is so compromised by international actors right now. As far as how the Epstein thing even came to be, you just have to look into the law of return, right, and understand a lot of politicians, when put in, how do I put this, in order to be multicultural, will engage in activities in foreign nations that are taboo to the United States citizens. Just look at that CNN journalist that was ate humans with the cannibals, right? The same way that dude was eating human with cannibals, that CNN guy, most of the politicians are engaged in who are deployed to, how do I put this, diplomatic tours or envoys to Middle East countries where sex with prepubescent children is normalized, have engaged in these activities, right? A lot of them they were put in there and they didn't know until it was too late, but like it's just like the problem we're all facing is that our government is fucked, guys. You're not going to get justice, right? Like, we cannot vote our way out of this. All right? The real issues have nothing to do, like, all the real issues that people are mentioning, immigration, economic, it all ties back to Epstein in reality. That's why it's such a key issue. Because the practices, the Epstein doctrines of, let's say, using sex with prepubescents as blackmail or incentives it's the core issue. It is the core issue. You know, it is tied into the massive amounts of prostitution we're seeing throughout the United States, and it's tied into the fact that we are now, as a globe, facing a global population collapse, combined with a global explosion in dependencies, in government and societal dependence. Right? There is a massive swath of fucking women right now who have no family, who have no children, have no potential to have children, who are about to all go infertile globally at the same time because they have been prostituted out by the global industrial system to generate economy and industry and innovation, right? That's just, we are all starting to become India. We are all starting to, how do I put this, evolve into a captured slave class, right? And that's happening through the genocide of females, through the abortion at higher rates than males. It's happening through the economic and physical isolation of females into corporate harems to separate them from their male counterparts. And the reality situation is not sustainable, and it's about to all come to a head, right? Just think about it, like given the amount of women who are LGBTQ according to stats, or who are OnlyFans, or who have like been engaged in digital prostitution for the last like 10 years. All right, well, if they started when they're 24 and they're 34, they haven't produced any children. And they don't have the time left to produce children, which means all the males in that same chunk of time are now no longer competing for those females, but they're competing for a tiny, tiny, tiny population of females still capable of having children, basically. And not only are they competing amongst themselves for that, they're also competing against the younger generation for those same females, just in terms of population, if people want families, which we're all driven to do. And then you also have the competition of the industrial harems and the pimp class also competing for those same females, while at the same time trying to empty their corporate harems and empty their corporate stables onto the male population who has not benefited from these women in any way, shape, or form. They haven't had children with these women. They haven't had relationships with these women. Many of them have been so economically disenfranchised that we're seeing this super rise in male virginity and incels, right? Like these are the problems, and they are tied to Epstein because they're tied to the political practices that are having off the back end of the fucking Epstein doctrines, let's call them, right? What he was doing on that island, which was basically performing international blackmail and bribery through leveraging prepubescent sexuality. That's what was going on. And we can all pretend that the list coming out would, like, we're going to see some justice, but the list will never come out because no matter who's in president, they don't know who's in control of the release. They can never fully trust whoever's control of the release, so they can never trust that it won't just be a hostile political action. So they're never gonna, no matter who's president, they're never gonna let it go out because of the spy versus spy nature that is now exists in our government because of its subversion. We are in World War III or World War Weird, right? This mass population collapse is going to lead into one of the most nightmarish periods of human history, possibly in all of human existence. And it was all avoidable 5 years ago, 6 years ago, even maybe 3 years ago. But we missed the gap, guys. I don't know what to tell you all. We missed the gap. Just think about the numbers, right? If 50% of the females, like, in the westernized world are barren and childless by 2030, right? Which is, I mean, that means that all of the males left in the society are competing for a very, 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 very small portion of females who are not barren and childless. And not only are they competing amongst themselves, they're competing against the younger generation, right? There's no way we can't avoid war. There's no way we're going to avoid war. The question is, what are you doing for the war, guys? It's like, we're never going to get, the government's compromised. It's fucked. The government is compromised, right? Right now, it is subverted by a foreign invasive force using the same systems, the same Taqiyya warfare doctrines that were used in Europe to invade America. Their intent is literally to bring a Middle Eastern slave caste to our shores through our own government charities and give those non-speaking invaders tacit permission to rape and abuse the native population, just like they've done every other time before in history, just like they did in Europe. And we can already see it coming. Even in my small town up here in the mountains, we can see it coming. Like it's horrifying. It's horrifying. So yeah, as far as the Epstein thing goes, what you think was going to fucking happen? Right? It's been 10 years. There's no way that list hasn't been edited and re-edited. Even if it was released, like, there's no way to know that it is a how do I put this? A full copy or an honest copy. And the presidents and the political parties, they know this, right? If Trump were to release the Epstein list, he may or may not be on it when it gets released based on what deep state actors are in control of the release, which he is not. What FBI actors are in control of the release. And I have to say, Kash Patel, Dan Bongino, they have a certain cast about them. Kash Patel is a straight Indian. India is currently heavily involved in the importation of a slave caste to America through the building of, let's say, Indian slave cities in Texas, plus the mass importation of foreign migrants to various places throughout the United States. And for all the talk of deportations, I haven't seen anyone going and confirming this, right? I'm granted, I haven't been down to LA, but it's just like, unless the fucking Navy comes to our borders and shuts this shit down militarily and creates a DMZ, i.e. South Korea, North Korea, we are in deep shit, guys. We are in deep shit. And so, yeah, I don't know. I'm rambling here a little bit, but yeah, there never ever, there is not a chance in fucking hell they're going to release the Epstein list. As far as why an Epstein list even exists, all you have to do is look into the law of return. Look into the law of return that was established with the Western countries in America for Israel and understand that we have been exporting pedophilic criminals from the United States to Israel for the last like 30 years. And now they're all coming back, right? We literally created a super state of pedophiles in the existence of Israel. And now we as a global populace have to deal with that karma. The karma of thinking these people could be educated, thinking these people could be allowed to live, thinking these people could have a land of their own, and that if we just made the pedophile utopia, they wouldn't bother the rest of us, right? Of course they're going to bother the rest of us. They're dependent on normal people to satiate their desires and lusts. So we just all have to admit what it is. It's a war for the soul of fucking humanity. It is a bloody war for the soul of humanity. In the real situation right now, those of us who are against child rape, against child trafficking, against human enslavement for profit, we are losing. We are getting murdered in abortion clinics. We are having crowd-funded assassinations of our children go through in front of a global population of witnesses, and we are getting no justice, right? And so it's time to just treat it what it is, man. You know, it's time to start treating it like what it is, and that's my 2 cents, you know. So I just want to make this for Diligent, and I'm gonna send it to him, and I'd love to have a conversation about this, man, because I'm not speaking out of my ass. I've done a lot of work to ensure that I know what the fuck I'm talking about, and I gotta say I'm ahead of 99% of people on this. I really, really am, and I'd love to have a conversation with you about it. So yeah, this is just going out to you, dog.